Hello, I'm Harvey, host of Franchising Brand Stories.
Hello, I'm Hannah from ActionCOACH and I'm the marketing manager and I drive our brand's growth with our team of coaches. Over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Harvey. My name is Neil Martin. I am the head of coach success for ActionCOACH UK.
Fantastic, and welcome to Franchising Brand Stories Season 4, brought to you by FranRec, the specialist staff and executive recruiters to the UK franchise industry. And this is the show, and I'm going to do it where we get under the hat of some of the best brands in the UK and in the world. So if you are considering investing in a franchise business, then this show is for you. This is about trying to discover what's behind a brochure. And the wonderful people that are part of these businesses are going to help us find that out. So it is a live show. Well, it's live if it's around 5:15 on November the 21st for about 50 minutes. So if you are here live, please pop in a comment, ask a question. This is your chance to ask those questions and find out all about this wonderful brand. So the brand story we're going to hear today is ActionCOACH. And we have the wonderful Hannah Smidley and Neil Martin with us to talk about ActionCOACH. Hannah, Neil, welcome to Franchising Brand Stories.
Thanks, Harvey. Thanks for having us.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Well, look, we're going to start with finding out what is ActionCOACH. I mean, I think it's a good place to start. A lot of people are going to be very familiar with the brand, very familiar with the business. But let's start from a position. If you didn't know what ActionCOACH is, what is it?
Great question. Great place to start. ActionCOACH is business coaching. So the products that we sell, if you wanted to put it in that context, is coaching the fundamentals of business to business owners. And that is any business owner. So from startup to multi-million with 500 plus team members to going through their employment of their first team. And business coaching is that fundamentals, that business chassis, the basics of running a business, the financials and the delivery and the operations and the HR and all of that amazing stuff. But it's also around mindset and it's around identity and challenges and team challenges. So that's ActionCOACH in a nutshell. Have I missed anything off, Neil?
No, I mean, I think if I was going to add anything, I would say, we're business coaches, but we don't coach businesses. And I know that sounds slightly counterintuitive, but, it's about coaching people so those people can build a business. And if you were to think of, going to the gym with a personal trainer, most people that want the best results in a gym go to the gym with a personal trainer, right? Because that personal trainer makes sure that they've got the right technique, make sure they're not going to injure themselves, make sure that they're being pushed to their maximum capability. Well, what is a world-class business coach? It's a personal trainer for your business. It's someone that's going to make sure you're doing things the right way. And, in terms of what is ActionCOACH, without going into what might be coming in future questions, ActionCOACH is the world's original business coaching organization. We've been trading for over 30 years. During that time, we've developed a business operating system that whether you are that micro business or whether you are a massive business, it's the same operating system of how to run a business, how to build, grow, scale a business that can operate without you in it, how to create an asset that you can sell. And ultimately, that's what we do for our end clients and our franchisees and our partner network is essential in how we deliver that.
Absolutely. No, fantastic. And a great description of what the business is. Another thing that I always like to find out, and I know if you're a prospective franchisee, you're just trying to gauge an idea as to where the business is at right now. Neil, you've just had a chat there, so perhaps we can go to Hannah for this one. Where are you at now in terms of number of franchisees and which parts of the UK can you be found in?
Yes. So franchisees, well, we've got 200 coaches, and they consist of a mixture of partners, employed coaches, and corporately run territories. Where can you find us in the UK? All over. You can find us in the very tip of Scotland, all the way down to the very south of Cornwall. Even in Northern Ireland, we are all over. We've got 230 territories currently, and we've got 86 available right now.
Fantastic. That's excellent. Before we get on to chapter 2, I want to recognise the fact that we do have a few people here live with us today. So I'd like to say hello to Omar. I would also like to say hello to Simon Wise. Great to have you with us, Simon. We also have Nick Plevin with us, and we've got Julie Waits as well. So it's fantastic to have you all here as well. I'm going to put up Simon's comment because I like that one that he's put up. I like that, a personal coach for your business. I like that as well. Everyone understands what having a personal trainer is, and how you can achieve better results for yourself and for your body at the gym with that. So it's a great way of building that picture. We are about to enter the main part of today's story, and we'll be getting into chapter 2. But if you have just joined us today, this is Franchising Brand Stories, and today we are hearing the brand story of Action Coach. And it's been a fascinating introduction so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this story. And Franchising Brand Stories is brought to you by FranRec, the specialist staff and executive recruiter for the UK's franchise industry. So we are going to get into this, and I'd like to ask you both a question about where it began for you guys with Action Coach, because you both got a really interesting story as to your sort of development within the brand. So either one of you can begin, but where did it begin for you at Action Coach?
Go for it, Hannah.
I was going to do rock, paper, scissors then.
I saw you doing that, yeah.
I thought you were threatening to punch me there.
No, not at all. Just rock, paper, scissors, Harvey. For me, it was during lockdown, actually, during COVID. So I was a business manager previously for 2 businesses run by one entrepreneur. So I worked with one business owner within his commercial property business and his aviation business. And of course, COVID lockdown just grounded the planes, and everybody was at home. So both of those businesses slowed to a snail pace, if not stopped. I mean, the planes didn't take off for a good 12 months. So for me, networking online was something that we could still do. So I was doing that, and met a business development executive from Action Coach Warwick, Lizzie, who was phenomenal, who was just a joy to network with online, and her energy was contagious online. And I was like, what is this Action Coach? I've never heard of business coaching. Bearing in mind, I've been in business all of my career. Started off with Mercedes-Benz back, I won't say when, but back in the 90s. But I'd never heard of business coaching. So I was intrigued as to what it was, what did they do, how did they do it? And they actually needed somebody to do networking for them, to be a business development executive for them. So I did that alongside still working as my sort of freelance job. And I loved it so much, I got stuck in and went full time. And then once you're in, you're in. It's a community that you want to be a part of and that you love being a part of. So business development turned into going to my coaching university with Action Coach and becoming a coach, and then qualified as a coach and had my own clients to work with. Still doing sales and marketing, because sales and marketing, it's fast paced, it's exciting, as with coaching, but I was having the best of both worlds. And so was enjoying my coaching career. with Action Coach Warwick, and then wanted to take a slightly different route and work with an entrepreneur who was building a portfolio of 14 businesses to sell for 10 million, and found that we were in a coaching relationship more than a sales relationship. And so came back to Action Coach UK because it's clearly where I need to be and what I love. So that's my story in a nutshell. But Neil, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, mine's a little bit different. My first exposure to Action Coach was actually not so much Action Coach, but Brad Sugars, the founder of Action Coach, and it was about a decade ago. And it's going to sound a little bit weird, but Brad was speaking at an event in London that I wasn't at. But I had some friends that were at it who were like, "You need to check this guy out. You need to know about this guy. This is something." And so put it on my radar. COVID actually and the pandemic actually plays a part in my story too, because I pre-COVID was spending a lot of time kind of on the corporate speaker circuit. So doing stuff in the UK, doing stuff overseas, a lot of large corporate events. And what happened in the pandemic? Well, they stopped. And if you're used to, I mean, this is slightly ego here, okay? But if you're used to standing on a stage and getting a standing ovation at the end, when that becomes, you press the leave meeting button, it's really, really not the same experience, right? But also some changes in my personal circumstances meant that my teenage daughter started to live with me 50% of the time during the pandemic. And after the pandemic, it's like, how do I go back on the road for months, weeks or months at a time when I've got a teenager that lives with me 50% of the time? It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. So I started to think, well, how do I bring what I do closer to home? And kind of similar, some parallels with Hannah's story, I discovered that Action Coach Cheltenham were looking to expand and bring another senior coach into the practice. And I had coaching experience, albeit not in Action Coach. So I still had to go through coaching university. We don't just let anyone become a coach. You've got to prove that you're capable of being a coach. And so even though I'd been coaching for a number of years, I still had to prove, I was capable of coaching, and I could prove my credentials and stuff within Action Coach. Joined that firm, kind of built my presence there, built up a bank of clients, etc. Like Hannah said, there's coaching involved, there's sales involved, there's marketing involved. And actually earlier this year, started to get into some conversations around some of the things that I was doing within that firm and how that might benefit the network as a whole, how that might benefit Action Coach UK as a whole. And so I moved over. I mean, I still coach some end clients today. Every client that I had with me within Action Coach Cheltenham actually moved over with me to my new role, but moved over into head of coach success to kind of breed best practice, lead some of our national initiatives, and do things to support other coaches, as well as working directly with end clients.
Fantastic. Well, look, that was two fantastic introductions, and it's always good when you're a prospective franchisee and you're listening to this either now or in the future to understand the people behind the business, and those stories as to how you got involved with Action Coach are vital to understanding the business and understanding your passion for the business, and therefore how it could be their passion and how they might be aligned. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing those fantastic stories. I wanted to, let's bring up a question. We've got a live question, so let's get one up and let's get into this. Simon has brought up a great question here. And he's put, what skills and experiences do franchisees need to succeed in your business? You've given us a couple of different backgrounds there yourself, but do you just look for existing business coaches? Do you look for entrepreneurs? And I'll put that question to Hannah. Go on, I'll choose this time.
I mean, it helps if you've got business experience, if you've run a business before, if you've been at board level, a director, if you've been in a leadership role, that all does help, absolutely. But the systems and the operating system that we have, it's not a necessity. So what I would say is it's more around being open-minded. It can be more around the openness to learning. I would probably say more so not having to know everything and being able to learn alongside your clients, because managing change and managing failure and managing success actually are huge parts of what we do as business coaches. And that might not necessarily come in a manual, and it might not necessarily be something that you've been through before. If you have, brilliant, because that shared experience, and similar to what we're doing now, actually, sort of sharing stories, offering insight is fantastic. But what you will always find is the new. You'll always find something within somebody else's business experience that you might not have gone through. So yes, I mean, if you've run a business before, that's brilliant. But it is about character, it's about mindset, and it's about that openness to learn.
I think that's really interesting. I mean, I'll share with you, I had an action coach many years ago when I had a business. And I think listening and adaptability and flexibility, because you're trying to understand the needs of somebody and their business and where and how you can help them. And I just remember this person just listening and really understanding what my business was about at that time, and it was a pleasant experience, may I add. But look, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Hannah. What do you make of this, Neil? Can you add anything to that in terms of skills and experience?
I mean, I think the first thing I'd say is, you know, be human. Be human. Be able to relate to other people. You know, coaching is a people business, right? That's what it really is. It's a people business. So, you know, are you able to relate to other people, whether that's pre-sale or post-sale? You know, are you able to have a conversation with someone and listen, understand their needs, understand what they're trying to achieve, understand what they're passionate about? And maybe they don't even fully understand that themselves. So are you able to answer, you know, ask questions that will bring that out of them? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, a lot of coaching, I'm going to take a slight side slant with this question for a second. There's a difference between coaching and mentoring. Mentoring is, I've been there, I've worn the t-shirt, I tell you what to do. Coaching is, I'm there with you and I help you figure out what to do. A lot of our coaches actually do both, but it's what's appropriate in the moment with that client. You know, so again, I can tell you, for me, there are clients of mine where it wouldn't matter how many questions I ask them, they're not going to get to the answer that I could just give them on occasion, right? Because maybe it's something, you know, maybe it's a business situation that I've been in myself, running a company before, where actually the best thing I can do in that moment is say, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if it was my business, these are the things I'd be thinking about. Then ask the questions. Because sometimes it needs that context first to actually get someone thinking in the right direction. Okay. But, you know, go back to the personal trainer analogy. Something I say to a lot of people on a regular basis: if you go to the gym with a personal trainer and they lift the weights, who gets the benefit?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, you know, it's not the coach's job to run the business for you, but the best personal trainers, if they ask you to do 10 reps, if you're fatigued after 7, they notice it and they stop you. But if you do the 10 easily, they push you to do 12 or 15. It's the same thing with the best coaches. And so that adaptability, that open-mindedness, that willingness to learn, you know, the best coaches have a coach. The best coaches invest a lot of time in developing themselves. The best people that run coaching businesses do the same thing. You know, they recognize the need to continuously evolve and improve.
I think that's really interesting. And it's particularly interesting when you stated the difference between a mentor and a coach. And I really like that analogy. And I think if you're a franchisee listening to this, or a prospective franchisee listening to this, to understand those two key differences, and the fact that a coach works and learns and adapts and with someone, and a mentor is someone who's saying, I've done this is how you should do it, or this is my advice because I've done this. And very different. But yet, if you took the two words, you might find that there was some confusion. So it's great to get that clarification. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I mean, this is franchising brand stories here. And franchising has obviously been a model that's been incorporated into ActionCOACH for many years. Why do you think that franchising in particular has helped that business grow and succeed?
Do you
We'll
want
go
to
for
go
Hannah.
for
So we do
me?
need to do rock, paper, scissors, don't we?
Yeah, really.
We'll take turns. We'll take turns.
Was that me? But for me, it's the individuality. So with the franchise, you've got the best of all worlds, because you've got the community that you can come into, that you've got instant support with, so you're not on your own. And that's the biggest challenge in business, right? You feel like you're on your own. That's why business coaching is fast becoming so successful, and why we're number one in the world. But it's that community. So I think that's one of the reasons why franchising has been so successful in growing the business, alongside the individuality that it gives the business owners to run their own business. So it is that balance between the two that I see that the success. Neil, build on that. You'll have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things to say. I think the first one is, there was a bit of a conversation earlier around, what experience do you need to become a coach? Okay, well, if you've never run a business before, but you become a franchisee, what are you doing? You're running a business. So, by having a franchise network, what we've basically got is a network of coaches that run businesses, that understand the challenges of running a business, that understand the challenges of scaling a business. So there's that aspect. But the other thing, Hannah mentioned community. We've built a lot of our business, and this is something that's relatively new as a kind of mantra in our business. It's been around for a couple of years now, but it's still relatively new, around a philosophy that we call care. And it might be in slightly the wrong order, but it wouldn't spell the word care if we rearranged it. Okay. But the care philosophy, we do care. We care about every single coach in our business, every single employee in every single franchise partner's business, every single client of every single one of those coaches, and every single person that touched. We care about that, right? That care breaks down into four things. The first one is the community that Hannah already mentioned. The second one is accountability. The third one is results. And the fourth one is education. And if I just very quickly expand on each one again, community, Hannah mentioned the community, that if you become a franchise partner of ours, you become part of a community. But also, as your business grows and you're working with more local businesses in your area, guess what? You're building a community. And so one of the things I often say to prospective clients, not so much partners, but prospective clients, is from a community perspective, when you become a client of Action Coach, you join two communities. You join the local community that belongs to the territory that you're in, and you join a global community of coaches via your coach, which means that, again, let's get real. We coach over 20,000 businesses a week in over 80 countries as a global network. Is there going to be a business challenge that isn't being faced somewhere in there that we can resolve, that we can find the answer? So if your coach doesn't know the answer, the network they're in, if you become a franchise partner and you're going, but I won't know how to answer all these things, guess what? There's a system in place. There's resources in place. There's a framework and meetings and things in place to support you with that. We run a coaches club 3 mornings of the week, which is like a drop-in Zoom session where coaches can come along and talk about, things that they're experiencing in the market, challenges they're anonymously, not going, hey, I've got this client, they're called this, here's their P&L. No, it's not that, but it's in an appropriate way, sharing kind of best practice. So there's a lot of stuff there, community, the accountability, the results, and the education, to really drive not just results for the end clients, but results for all the franchise partners too.
No, I love that. I love that. I mean, you both gave fantastic answers to that. There's something that stuck out for me is the fact that you're not on your own. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, in any franchise business, you get the support of the franchisee network. And that's one of the things that's wonderful about any franchise business. But actually, it's really unique in your business, because you have the other franchisees, the other coaches, right, to support you. But they then have lots of clients that they're doing lots of things with, and coming up with answers and different ways of doing things. So you really do have this network. You really do have this community to support you, because one person can't know everything about every single business, exactly, whether you're a great coach or not. But if you listen, if you're adaptable and flexible and grow with that business and take the wider support of the coaching network that you have, then you have a fantastic opportunity to succeed. We're going to get into what the prospect journey looks like now, because if you are a potential franchisee listening in today and you're thinking, I've got a bit of experience in business, I'd really like to help some other business owners, I think I'd like to get involved in this. What are they going to expect as a journey from the point they make a phone call or drop you an email to the point they start their business? And let's either one of you.
I was going to jump in there. I mean, I don't know that it matters which one of us answers this. You're going to get similar but different, different takes on the same thing, right? I think the first thing to say is this. It's if you join a franchise network, it's a long-term commitment. Because it's a long-term commitment, the dedication has to be there right from the beginning. The commitment has to be there right from the beginning. The investment in each other has to be there right from the beginning. So if you contact us saying, hey, I'm interested in this, guess what? We're interested in you. And we're going to do due diligence in both directions. We're going to make sure it's the right fit in both directions. Because, what is the worst thing that can happen in any business, particularly something like a franchise network, any franchising business? What's the worst thing that can happen? You recruit franchisees that don't work. Because it's not just damaging for that person, it's damaging for the brand too. So it's absolutely critical to do all of the right levels of due diligence. It's absolutely critical to make sure there's a clear understanding of exactly what it means to run this business, exactly what's needed to grow and scale this business. What you'll be doing on day one, what you'll need to be doing by month 12, what the journey is between those. It's getting clarity on all of that, because at the end of the day, our real interest is your success. And if we don't have those conversations, how can we get you successful?
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah, what do you what's your take on that journey? So, do people come and meet a coach? Do they go to a head office? Do they, have a phone call first? What's your take on the journey?
Yeah, all of the above. So there's multiple ways in which you can hear about us, find out about us, reach out to us. But essentially, it is a conversation first. So there's a conversation with Julie first and foremost. Introductory, get to know each other, what made you reach out. And then there's the interview. Just like Neil alluded to, this is a two-way commitment here. This is a fit. This is win-win. So you need to pass the interview and succeed through interview level before coming to a discovery day, which is at head office. So you meet Ian and Julie, you meet some of the team. And then from that, absolutely speak to some of the other coaches, go to some of the events that we run, conference, BizX, some of the other coaches' growth clubs, have a look at the culture, have a look at our vision, experience it, taste it, smell it, touch it, and see the energy in the room. Then we go through due diligence financials. So that's the next stage before committing to going through ActionCOACH University. So it is telephone call, then an interview, then due diligence. Go and meet and see and experience the community. And then it's financials and due diligence, commitment, and then 10 weeks of intense training, but it is the best intense training ever. Graduate. Oh, by the way, there is a volleyball match in the 10-week training that if the UK don't win, just to paint a bit of a picture here. So we're the #1 firm globally, and we take that very seriously. And how we take that very seriously is during the volleyball matches that we have at conference, at the 10-week training, which might be here, might be Vegas, depends, might be online. There's other ways in which to do it, but we must win. We must take that trophy home. And then once you pass your graduate from your ActionCOACH University, that acts as your first marketing strategy, and you roll that out, and then you go on to a step-up week, which is sales and marketing with our internal team. And then you're in the support network, you're in the WhatsApp group, you come into Coaches Club, which is Tuesday through Thursday. There's a Monday morning webinar, which is delivered by other coaches. So there's lots to get involved with, or not, as much as you like. You know, it's not compulsory, you've got to be here. So yes, that's just painting a picture of the journey.
Yeah. Fantastic. Very interesting to hear about the volleyball as well. That wasn't something that I would have thought was in that journey. So
on the rare occasion that the venue can't do volleyball, it turns into something like table tennis. But there is always some sort of competition going on. Always.
Excellent. No, that's fantastic. Really interesting to hear about that journey, and particularly, and I think we'll get on to what the university is, and a little bit later on in our conversation. We're also going to get onto that marketing and that support that you give your franchisees on their journey. But we're about halfway through. So if you have joined us today, this is Franchising Brand Stories. And today we are hearing the story of Action Coach. And Franchising Brand Stories is brought to you by FranRec, the specialist staff and executive recruiter to the UK's franchise industry. So I think before we get on to the university and some of the support, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the type of people that you find in your network, because again, if you're building an interest while you're listening to this as a prospective franchisee, what type of people choose to be action coaches? I mean, what's your sort of mix of coaches and their backgrounds? Are they all entrepreneurs and business owners, or have they come from more of a corporate world, or some unusual mixes between those?
It's pretty diverse. Yeah, it's pretty diverse.
Yeah,
it's pretty diverse. There are probably three key personas that we would be looking for in terms of that recruitment, which I'll let Hannah explain those in a moment. But before that, the one thing I would say is, we've got people who've been kind of literally sort of titans of industry. They've been board level in FTSE 50, FTSE 100 type companies. We've got people who've been involved in management buyouts of multi-million-pound deals. We've got people who come from the military. We've got people who've been in senior roles in major corporates. We've got people who've had their own startup businesses. Like there's a lot of different business stories in our network. And again, that reinforces the learning, because there's lots of different shared experiences that are being shared on a regular basis. But I mean, Hannah, do you want to talk through the sort of core three personas?
Yeah, definitely. Just to build on some of the industries. So we've got everything you can possibly imagine: manufacturing, automotive, the military, local government. I mean, there's just it really is diverse. The three core personas are so we've got. I don't like to age people, but we've got three age brackets. We've got young entrepreneurs. We've got young, hands-on entrepreneurs who are focused on leadership and scaling businesses. That's their experience. That's generally where they come from, and they kind of fit in to potentially one of our sort of action practice franchises. Then we've got sort of mid-career, similar to myself actually, that has a life change, a career change, a redundancy, sort of mid-career professionals that are board level, C-suites, sold their business. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who sold his business and has been stay-at-home dad for a couple of years, and now he's thinking, I need to use this brain matter. I need to use this grey matter soon, because my wife's coming home from her corporate role, and we're having different conversations, and so I'm not able to keep up with that sort of terminology. It's people that want to use their brain, that want to learn more, and then we've got people that potentially would have retired, and they're bored, and they want to come along, or they want to invest in a business, or they want to impact their community in some way. So yeah, we've got young entrepreneurs looking to get their hands dirty, really hungry, mid-career wanting to learn more, wanting to be around the right people. And then we've got more experienced business owners that are retired, that are looking to invest, to looking to build their portfolio, and have an impact.
Great. No, that's fantastic. And it's great to hear that no matter where you are in your journey, that there's potentially a value add and a way of getting involved as a franchisee. So I really like that. I mean, we've been talking here about which people choose your franchise. We've got a question from our audience. So let's have a little look at this one and see what this is about. So this is from Julie, and Julie's put, how's franchisee recruitment going? What's working for you guys? I think this is an interesting question because, again, if you are looking for individuals and you're looking for those individuals in certain places, that helps guide people who are listening to this as to where they should be positioning themselves to be found by you, I suppose, as well. So in answer to that question, then, how is recruitment going with you? And, and where do you look for your people?
Yeah.
Perhaps, either one. Either one can take it.
You can go for it if you want, Hannah.
I'll go for that one. I'll go for that one. So recruitment is going well. Where we are finding, or sort of what our most successful marketing medium is at the moment. Well, we've got a few actually. So referral is always our number one lead generator. So referrals. People understanding who we are, what we do, and having somebody within their circle of influence or a client that they're working with that's selling their business that want to come along and learn more about us. LinkedIn is working well. It's a great tool to speak to other professionals and get to know people. LinkedIn is a fantastic space to be a thought leader, to be out there, putting yourself out there and expressing what it is that you do and sharing what it is that you do, professionally and personally. So LinkedIn's another good one. And at the moment, actually, paid ads, being out there, investing through paid ads, is also a good lead generator for us at the moment. Fantastic. To be found by us, that's a brilliant question. I'd say reach out. Don't wait for us to find you. If you want to be a coach, reach out.
Absolutely.
I think the only other thing I'd throw in the mix on that is, we do get quite a few people who've been clients. Yeah. So they've been on the other side, and then like Hannah mentioned, potentially they've got to the point where even if they haven't sold their business, they've got their business to the point where it can run without the minute. And some of our coaches actually start almost as this is something I want to do a couple of days a week. Oh, and now I want to have a territory. Oh, and now I want to build a team, because it kind of when you see the results you get for clients, it becomes addictive.
Absolutely. I'd like to now, we've spoken about what the prospect journey looks like, but it's always useful when you're trying to understand what a franchise business is about, to understand what a day might look like, a typical day, and how that might fit into your lifestyle as well. So perhaps you could explain what the day in the life of a franchisee at ActionCOACH might look like.
I think that one depends on how do you want your business to look as a franchisee, and that's not me trying to avoid the question. I will give some examples, but back to my point of what kind of coaching business do I want to build? Like, do I want to be the main coach in the business, and if so, how many hours a week do I want to coach for? And depending on how many hours a week I want to coach versus how many hours a week I want to work. How much am I being involved in the sales and marketing that attracts me clients? Am I going out and networking? Am I, sitting those kind of pre-sale meetings with potential clients? A bit like we mentioned, the sort of due diligence of becoming a franchise partner. There's due diligence with becoming a client. That's not to the same level, but we don't take on clients unless we're confident we can get them a result. So, there's a number of meetings that are kind of done pre-sale. A typical, and this is, there are a lot of variations in this, but I would say a typical coach is spending probably about an hour a day on their own personal development, at least two to 4 days a week. So attending things like our webinars and our coaches club, etc. They're going to have an element of their diary that is blocked out for sales related activities. And I deliberately a little bit vague on that because there are different strategies and it depends on which ones you enjoy and which ones work in your firm and attract the type of clients you're trying to win. But, you know, that might be networking, that might be cold calling, that might be creating content for social media, that might be hosting events or speaking at other people's events. There's a lot of variation in there. And then obviously the other big part, a very, very key and fundamental part is delivering the coaching. And again, what we do find with this, Harvey, is like, you know, over time in the beginning, when you've got less clients, guess what? There's more time on sales and marketing. As you win more clients, guess what? There's more time on coaching, and you start to bring in the team to support with the sales and marketing, and then potentially bring in another coach, etc., and expand the firm.
Get it. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting as well. I mean, do you ever get management type franchisees? So do you ever get somebody who wants to be a franchisee for Action Coach, but doesn't want to be a coach? So
Yep.
in other words, they want to bring in some coaches. Do you
Yep.
have people like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the kind of three personas that Hannah mentioned, if I was to label them in a slightly different way, we kind of have the Action Coach practice. Okay, the action practice, which is kind of like the entry level, and that is very much I want to put the work in. I want to be the main coach. In fact, I might want to be the only coach initially. Then we have what we'd call the Action Firm, which is kind of like our middle offering, which is I want to be a coach, but I also want to build a business around me, and I want to build other coaches around me. And potentially I might even want to exit someday and still continue to take an income from this. Then we have our Action Investor model. And the investor model is much more of a, hang on a minute, I don't want to build this business, but I want to put money into it. I want to own it. I don't want to be in all the daily operations. So I'm going to invest in the business, and I'm going to have a team build the business for me. And then maybe at some future point, I might rethink and decide I do want to be active in the business. And obviously you can, but it is a much more hands-off type model. You know, I don't want to do the coaching. I want to build the business and let someone else deliver that part.
Fantastic. It's great to understand, you know, what that looks like, and I think you gave a really good picture as to what that could look like. I want to get on now to support for your franchisees, and particularly marketing support, and how you mentioned there about sort of cold calling and how they're going to get those potential clients. Perhaps Hannah, you can take this one on the marketing front, but how do you approach that marketing support for franchisees?
Yes, so from a marketing perspective, what we have is a central team that we concentrate on generating leads for clients, and then on the flip side of that, clients for leads for coaches, and then coaches for leads. So obviously franchise inquiries and coach inquiries for the coaches. And we do that through a variety of ways. So we have our main website. Within the main website, we've got a Find a Coach tool. So within the main website, you can go into the Find a Coach tool and you can type in coach near me, put your postcode in, or you can put the region that you're in, and it will bring up a list of the coaches. So we make it really easy for anybody looking for coaching to find their coach. We have a national webinar series that we run centrally, and we will invite prospects, and it's somewhere where the coaches can invite their prospects as well. And we will deliver well, Neil, it's actually you in a couple of weeks. So it's relevant topics. It's real challenges that are happening in the economy or in current affairs, or it's within the operating system. So it's a variety of topics that we cover for prospects, and then we'll distribute those leads, or we'll let the coaches know that their prospects have been on. We've got the £1 million referral campaign, which actually I'm going to leave that one there, because if there is a question about what we're doing in the future,
there might be.
There might be.
There might be a question.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave that all mysterious, the £1 million referral campaign.
Fantastic. I'd like to ask a question. Actually, it's a question I really enjoy, and you know, you've both been working in the business for a long time in different ways and have been involved in the business. You must have embraced quite a lot of life-changing stories. You know, when you get somebody to coach you in your business, and when you stop working in your business and you stop, you know, you concentrate on your business and you do things in the right way, it can really change things around. I'm sure there are lots, but can either of you think of a character you've met or a life-changing story? Oh, where's he gone?
He's grabbing something from in his office.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good stuff.
If you want a life-changing story, let me read you something quickly. It's a side of A4, but I'll read it as quickly as I can. This is a letter from a 15-year-old. Okay. Written to me from it's basically one of my clients' daughters. And it says, "Dear Neil, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for my mum and, without knowing it, our family. Before my mum had you as a business coach, she would spend hours on end working and feeling stressed, not having enough time to relax or spend time with us as a whole family. And she spent all her time trying to grow her business and juggle many, often not very nice to her, clients. However, since you've become my mum's business coach, she's started to learn to relax, and you've made her entire business and work journey a lot less stressful. You've helped my mum with streamlining client work and managing her own time, as well as learning to let go of those not so nice clients and saying no to those who don't appreciate how hard she works for them. It's made her a better businesswoman, and I love working part-time with her and can't wait to see her business grow into a huge empire. My mum is fiercely loyal to those who've supported her both personally and professionally, and I know you're one of those people. As a final message, I just want to say a huge thank you, as this year was the first year in a very long time that my mum has had a holiday without taking any work with her or worrying about the work that might pile up for when she gets back. We had an amazing holiday, and we can't wait for our Christmas break too. So thank you, Neil, for everything you've done for my mum, and as a result, for me and my brother."
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well,
and that's not a franchise partner, that's an end client.
What a story!
Impact our coaches have.
Yeah, what a story of impact that you can have. You know, Action Coach is one of those businesses where you can improve the lives of a franchisee, being a coach, but you improve the lives of then business owners. And then onto that, you're improving the lives of the families and friends of those business owners. There's a whole series of tiers. What a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. We are now coming towards the final chapter. Now, you alluded to this and gave us a little teaser for this. If you have just joined us, this is Franchising Brand Stories. There's a QR code that is up on your screen right now. If you scan that, it will take you to the beginning. You can go back in time and you can listen to this whole episode. But what I would like to do now is get the franchise exclusive. So we're going to ask you about the future. So what is see, it's live. What is coming up in the future for Action Coach in the future sort of months or years?
Go on, Hannah, you already teed it up, so.
Well, it is. I did. I left that sort of very mysteriously, didn't I? There, hanging. But yeah, the future is really going to be revolving around marketing for our coaches. It's going to be. It's already launched. Actually, it's the £1 million giveaway. So we understand that with marketing there is an acquisition cost. When it comes to leads, there is you pay for advertising, you pay for your marketing team. So what we've done is we've created the £1 million giveaway, and what that offers is a opportunity for any referrals that come in. The acquisition cost goes into a pot which then can be won. So it's £2,000 for a lead. £1,000 goes to the referrer, and £1,000 goes into the pot. And then both the referrer and the referee get a ticket. And once the 1,000 tickets have been sold, 1,000 places, 2,000 in total because there's the referrer as well. £1 million is going to be given away. So referrals are our number one lead generator. We're leveraging that for our coaches, for the businesses out there that don't know about us yet, and never been done before, giving away £1 million. So that's just something that's exciting in being rolled out now and in the future.
Oh, well, that's excellent stuff and very exciting. And you know, what a way to sort of take advantage of the fact that referrals are always a big part of your business, and why not embrace that? So that's fantastic. We are coming towards the end today. I have put up a QR code now on the left-hand side of your screen, and that will take you to the franchising section of Action Coach's website. So please scan that if you'd like to find out more. And while you're doing that, I'd like to ask the two of you to share any final thoughts that you've got before we wrap things up today.
Let me jump in on this. You know, we talked about the impact that a business coach can make on someone's life. And Ian Christelow, who is the co-founder of ActionCOACH in the UK, told me his backstory when I first came into the organization, about how his father had sadly lost the company and the impact it had on their family. It resonated deeply with me because when I was a teenager, we went through the same thing. And that resulted in repossession of our family home. It resulted in the breakdown of my mum and dad's marriage. Now, it gets better. The story does get better because my dad, at a point where he could, rebuilt, basically built another business, right? Get to Christmas of 1997, going into the new year of 1998, I was sat at my dad's dining table. It was absolutely huge. And he said, I had an offer to buy me out of the business. It's a 7-figure sum. It's in excess of £1 million. You know, we're going to be set. But I know with the order book we've got, one more year, we can add a 0. So I'm not going to take the offer. I'm confident in what we can do. I got married in February of 1998. On the 5th of April, 1998, my dad died from cancer. On our wedding day, we didn't know he had. And what do you think happened to his business? It was built around him and it disappeared when he did. If he had the business education that ActionCOACH gives, my family would have been, I'm not saying this in terms of I dipped out on the money. I'd rather have my dad any day of the week.
Course.
But my dad worked so hard to build that, he didn't expect it to disappear with him. If he'd had the education that ActionCOACH is giving, that wouldn't have happened. And so, you know, businesses touch lives in so many different ways. Becoming a business coach is your opportunity to make sure it's in a positive way. And I have this deep personal belief that, in fact, I think it's even in the bio you might have been sent for me for this session. I have this really deep personal belief that every single person's life and every single business is one of two things. It's a warning or it's an example. And you get to choose which of those legacies you want to leave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that story. It's really powerful and really important for people to understand this, and so important to understand the value of using a coach and doing things perhaps the right way. So thank you so much for that. Hannah, do you want to leave your future audience or our current audience with any final thoughts? And you've got to top that now.
Those what Neil's just shared with us there are stories that we hear constantly all the time from business owners, and I didn't know that about you, Neil, and from our coaches. And it's that shared experience that makes ActionCOACH work. It's the lifeblood of what we do. It's the vulnerability that our coaches have, and they share openly with the business owners. That's where the magic happens. That's where the change happens. And so just, future audience, if you've got any experience like that you want to bring into your local community, and business coaching is a way for you to channel that, then scan the QR code and give us a call, find out more.
Fantastic. Well, look, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has been here live. Thank you to everyone who watched this in the distant future as well. And a special thank you to our wonderful guests, Hannah and Neil from the fantastic Action Coach. Thank you both for your time today. So don't forget, on the franchise show next week, we are going to be talking about when franchises stop making money. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. And we're going to be talking to Neil Muttock. So please join us Tuesday, 26th of November, 5:15 GMT, 12:15 EST. And next week on Franchising Brand Stories, so that's Thursday, the 28th of November, we are going to be finding out what's under the hat of Fast Signs, and we're going to be talking to John Davies about that. So please join us 5:15 GMT, 12:15 EST next Thursday for that. And until next time, my friends, take very good care.